Good morning, students. I've already started 6th chapter, that is beginning of freedom movement, and have explained centralization of administration during British rule, economic exploitation, study of ancient Indian history, contribution of newspapers, establishment of Indian National Congress, its objectives, moderates and extremists. Today I am going to start with partition of Bengal. Now before I start with this, I would like to brief you about divide and rule. Divide and rule, that is divide and conquer, in politics and sociology is gaining and maintaining power by breaking up larger concentrations of power into pieces that individually have less power than the one implementing the strategy. The use of this technique is meant to empower the sovereign to control subjects, populations or factions of different interests who collectively might be able to oppose his rule. Niccolo Machiavelli identifies a similar application to military strategy, advising in Book of 6 of the Art of Warfare. A captain should endeavor with every art to divide the forces of enemy. Machiavelli advises that these acts should be achieved either by making him suspicious of his men in whom he trusted, or by giving him cause that he has to separate his forces and because of this become weaker. The maxim divide a imperia has been attributed to Philip II of Macedonia. It was utilized by Roman ruler Julius Caesar and the French Emperor Napoleon, together with the maxim divide ou régner. The strategy but not the phrase applies in many ancient cases, and this was the policy which was used by the British. The strategy of division and rule has been attributed to sovereigns ranging from Louis XI of France to House of Habsburg. Edward Coke denounces it in chapter 1 of the fourth part of Institutes of the Laws of England, reporting that when it was demanded by Lords and Commons what might be a principal motive for them to have good success in Parliament, it was answered that it could be divide and rule policy. Elements of this technique involve creating or encouraging divisions among subjects to prevent alliances that could challenge the sovereign, aiding and promoting those who are willing to cooperate with sovereign, fostering distrust and enmity between local rulers, encouraging meaningless expenditures that reduce the capability of political and military spending. The concept is also mentioned as a strategy for market action in economics to get the most out of the players in a competitive market. Divide and rule can be used by states to weaken enemy military alliances. This usually happens when propaganda is disseminated within the enemy states in an attempt to raise doubts about the alliance. So this is a short briefing of divide and rule. Just because India was ruled by Britishes and the two majority communities, Hindus and Muslims, they joined hands together against the British during revolt of 1857 and also during formation of Indian National Congress. And when Britishers realized that Indians were uniting against them once again, this divide and rule policy was utilized for the purpose of creating rift between Indian Hindus and Muslims. And partition of Bengal was its first step. Now let us go to partition of Bengal. The British decided to use the policy of divide and rule to create a rift between Hindu and Muslim community. The then Viceroy Lord Curzon contributed to it. Bengal was a very large province. To carry out the work of this province was difficult from administrative point of view. By putting up this reason, in 1905 he declared the partition of Bengal province. With this partition, arrangement was made such that majority Muslims will remain in East Bengal and West Bengal for majority of Hindus. The hidden strategy of the British was, if the Hindu Muslims were divided due to partition, then the freedom movement will be weakened. This was the purpose of partition of Bengal, to weaken the national movement. Now this led to anti-partition movement. There was public awakening against partition not only in Bengal but all over India. 16th October, the day of partition, was observed as National Mourning Day all over India. There were protest meetings to condemn the government decision. Vande Mataram came to be sung everywhere. As a symbol of unity, Raksha Bandhan programs were held. Students in large number boycotted government schools and colleges, that is, schools and colleges which were run by British government. This was the strategy which was utilized by students from India, and they participated in the movement. The leadership of this movement was in hands of Surendranath Banerjee, Anand Mohan Bose, Ravindranath Tagore, and such other leaders. The extent of Indian National Congress increased due to the anti-partition movement. It became a national movement. Owing to the severity of dissatisfaction, the British annulled the partition of Bengal. So, immediately under Indian National Congress, there were protests all over country, and which forced the Britishers to take back this partition of Bengal. Now see, it gives us an hint that under Indian National Congress, now Indians were prepared to fight against the British. 4-point program of Indian National Congress. Gopal Krishna Gokhale was the president of Indian National Congress, session of 1905. He supported the anti-partition movement. Dadabhai Naoroji was the president of 1906 session. Now, in a systematic way, Indian National Congress was, fighting against the British for their policies. For first time, he pronounced the word Swaraj from the stage. In his presidential speech, he gave the message that remain united, try sincerely and fulfill the aim of Swaraj, so that today we will be able to save lakhs of people suffering from poverty, hunger, disease, and India will get a respectable position among developed countries. This is how these leaders propagated their ideas to fight poverty, hunger, disease, and save themselves from British atrocities. In the same session, Swaraj, that is self-rule, Swadeshi, that is Indian made goods, national education, schools and colleges which were started by its very own people, and boycott. Boycott means boycotting all things which were foreign made, which were imported into country. This 4-point program was unanimously accepted by Indian National Congress. Due to Swadeshi movement, we will be self-sufficient. So say Swadeshi means Indian made products. This will give us our self-sufficiency. To follow the path of Swadeshi, we need to bring together capital resources. Whatever money we have, we should utilize it by building up factories and infrastructures which were of Indian origin, Swadeshi, that is, by the Indians. We need to bring together capital, resource, manpower and such other forces, and from this the benefit of country could be achieved. It was decided that boycotting of foreign goods is the first step and boycott of foreign rule will be the next step. Due to boycott, we will be able to attack the roots of British imperialism, was the opinion of some of the leaders. Now, do you know Gopal Krishna Gokhale founded the Servants of India Society in 1905 to create love for the country, teach them sacrifice of self interest, differences between religion and caste should be destroyed, and to create social harmony. Spread of education were the main objectives of Servants of India Society. Now, see, this is how leaders from India, in their capacity, through different means, they were trying to propagate ideas, bring about Hindu Muslim unity, and create awareness about their own rights. From now, systematically under Congress, this time, nationwide movement was building up. Differences between moderates and extremists. The differences between the ideologies of Indian National Congress rose to a great extent in Surat session in 1907. The moderates were trying to keep aside the resolution of Swadeshi and boycott. Extremists trying that this opposition should not be successful. Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Surendra Nath Banerjee, Firoz Shah Mehta, and such moderate leaders blamed that the extremist leaders are trying to capture the Indian National Congress. The moderates, they criticized the extremists by saying that they were trying to capture Indian National Congress. They wanted to control Indian National Congress. Lala Lajpat Rai tried to act as a mediator. As per Tilak's opinion, Indian National Congress was a national platform, hence it should not be divided. During the session of tension increased, and since no compromise was possible, finally there was a split in the Indian National Congress. That means the National Congress party got divided between moderates and extremists. Suppression of the British. After anti-partition movement, the government was disturbed looking at influential public protest. Now, government was disturbed because they saw that now people were united against them. The movement was much more organized than the previous ones. To control this movement, the government used the policy of suppression. That means they tried to suppress frontline leaders and people involved in this freedom movement. Holding of public meetings was legally banned. No public or political meetings could be arranged. Strict punishments were given to those who broke the law. School children were also beaten up. Many restrictions were imposed on newspapers. Many printing press were confiscated on grounds of blame of criticizing the government. All these tactics were forcibly used by British to stop the movement, to punish all those who were supporting the movement. Writers and editors were imprisoned. All those who wrote against British, they were put in jail. Strict actions were taken against the extremist leaders. This led to a severe reaction in Bengal. The revolutionaries adopted the means of firing bombs, blasts, etc. These bomb attacks were advocated through Kesari newspaper by Lokmanya Tilak. the charge of sedition. Sedition is, a legal term which means inciting people, provoking people to go against rulers. This is sedition. So, under this charge of sedition, Lokmanya Tilak was, sent to Mandalay jail at Myanmar for 6 years. Bipin Chandra Pal was sentenced to jail and Lala Rajpat Rai was deported from Punjab, because these were the extremist leaders, those were actually creating problem for the British. Establishment of Muslim League. Now here we come to the divide and rule policy which I explained in the beginning. The British became very disturbed looking at the overwhelming response to the Indian National Congress in the anti-partition movement. The British once again followed the policy of divide and rule. They started using the propaganda that for safeguarding the interest of Muslims, they should have a separate political organization. Due to the motivation of British government, a committee of upper class Muslims under leadership of Aga Khan met Governor General Lord Minto. Due to the motivation from Lord Minto and other British officers, the Muslim League was established in 1906. Now see how Britishers were trying to create rift between Hindus and Muslims. This was the only way through which they could weaken the national movement, and in fact they succeeded, because through this policy of divide and rule they were able to create rift between Hindus and Muslims. And if you look at, this was actually the beginning of the partition of India. Partition of Bengal was first step towards the psychology of the Britishers, and which was quite evident when India got independence in 1947, when India was divided into India and Pakistan, two nation theory, through which partition of India was done. Morley-Minto Act. There was dissatisfaction among Indians regarding the work of British government. The Indians felt that the reasons of poverty in India was economic policy of the British. That is, because of British economic policy, India became a poor country. That was only reason. Oppressive policy of Lord Curzon, exclusion of educated Indians in government services, unjust behavior towards Indians in Africa, all this added to dissatisfaction of Indian people. As a temporary remedy on the discontent among Indians, the Morley-Minto Reform Act of 1909 was passed. According to this act, it increased the number of Indian members in Legislative Assembly, and provision of inclusion of some elected Indian representatives in Legislative Assembly was made. Now through this, some more rights were given to Indian politicians. In the same act, separate electorates were provided to Indian Muslims. Due to this conspiracy of the British, the seeds of division in India were sown. As I told you, separate electorates for the Muslims. That was the beginning of partition of India. On one side, they gave some legal reforms, representation in assembly, but on the other hand, they played this policy of divide and rule by giving separate electorate to the Muslim community. No uniformity in voting rights. Lucknow Pact. In the Lucknow session of Indian National Congress in 1916, under the leadership of Lokmanya Tilak, an attempt was made to resolve the dispute in the Indian National Congress. In the same year, there was an agreement between National Congress and Muslim League known as Lucknow Pact. According to this pact, the Indian National Congress agreed to separate electorate to Muslims and Muslim League agreed to support the Indian National Congress in its work for getting political rights to India. This was the agreement between Indian National Congress. And I would rather put it that this was the biggest mistake of Indian National Congress, because the pact itself was wrong. And all this was, building up for further trouble between Indian National Congress and Muslim Leagues. How they will be divided on political platform. That was the beginning of all these, troubles. Home Rule movement. In 1914, when Lokmanya Tilak was released from Mandalay jail, the First World War had begun in Europe. The direct consequences of this war had to be borne by India as well. See, though India was not directly involved in the war, since Britishers were ruling India, so indirectly India got involved, and India had to bear the expenses of the war. That further aggravated, economic condition in India. That further, brought about poverty for the people, because resources like food, grains, manpower, Indian capital was utilized for the British during war situation. All this led to, further problems or economic problems in India. The rates of basic necessary commodities increased. Basic food, grains, vegetables, other things, because of this prices increased. Many restrictions were put upon Indians by British government. This led to increased dissatisfaction in the minds of Indians. In these circumstances, Dr. Annie Besant and Lokmanya Tilak started Home Rule movement. Home Rule means self-government. Such movement also began in Ireland against colonialism. On similar lines, Home Rule movement demanded right of self-government in India. Annie Besant and Lokmanya Tilak made extensive tour in different parts of the country, and the demand for self-government reached the common people. Tilak firmly stated that Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. This was the slogan which was used by Lokmanya Tilak. Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. स्वतंत्रता मेरा जन्म सिद्ध अधिकार है और मैं इसे लेकर रहूँगा. Actual meaning of this phrase. The First World War and India. The war atmosphere in Europe, growing dissatisfaction in the minds of Indians, popularity of Home Rule movement. In such conditions, it was necessary for British to get cooperation from the Indians. The British government decided to provide some political rights to the Indians in 1917. Montague, Secretary of State for India, declared that step by step Indians will be given the right to self-government and responsible political system. Tilak also declared that if the government is going to show sympathy and considerable attitude towards the demands of Indians, only then Indian public is ready to cooperate with the British. This policy of Lokmanya Tilak is known as responsive cooperation. That means the Britishers were positive in their approach regarding Indian policies, regarding Indian problems, giving them, more rights. Then through responsive cooperation, Indians will also cooperate with the British. This is the assurance which Lokmanya Tilak gave to the Britishers. But all these things were, just to, calm down situation for time being. Whatever Britishers said, normally they did not go back on their words. Just to calm down temporarily the volatile situation, all these, false promises were given to the Indian leaders. Montague-Chelmsford Reform Act. In 1919, the British Parliament passed another act to bring constitutional reforms in India. This act is known as Montague-Chelmsford Reform Act. According to this act, less important departments were transferred to Indian ministers. Less important. Things which were not important, which will never give enough power in the hand of Indian. All those things were given, or power was given to the Indians. Whereas the important departments like finance, home affairs, and revenue were under the control of governor. Finance means money matters, things which were related to home affairs and revenue, collection of taxes. All these important things were in the control of governor. The 1919 Act did not give much exposure to demand for responsible government of Indians. Everybody was disappointed due to this act. Tilak criticized the act in following words: "This is neither Swaraj nor the foundation." The Indians understood that if they had to subdue the British government, then the agitation needs to be more rigorous. India got prepared for a new movement. Now, in this chapter, we have realized that Britishers were now using these tactics of divide and rule, and whatever promises they gave, those promises were false, and even the Indian leaders also realized this, and thus they were preparing for new type of movement, that is non-cooperation movement, which we are going to study in the next chapter. Students, I have completed the chapter. Please go through the chapter thoroughly. Any difficulty, please do ask me. Take care, stay home, be safe. Thank you.